Welcome everybody to About 10 Art. My name is Lazaro Gomez, and today we're doing a Mardi Gras inspired piece. So every year, I like creating a piece of artwork for my team to celebrate the different seasons throughout the year. I do a lot of artwork for Halloween Horror Nights, for Christmas time, and then this time around, I'm doing something for Mardi Gras. So it's kind of traditional in our team to visit the park. Usually, Halloween is what kicked it all off the first time we went together and experienced the event. Um, and then I thought it'd be kind of cool if we had something to commemorate that moment. And I started creating artwork. And so last year did I did the same piece for Mardi Gras, but it was Gator, which I now added to my Threadless store. Just so we can have shirts and buttons and all kinds of stuff. And so I thought it'd be kind of cool this year to kind of change it up a little bit and do Baron Tonton, which is a pretty neat character within itself. Um, this is a Mardi Gras classic, just like the King and Queen. Now we have a Baron that makes his way across the festive streets of Mardi Gras and interacts with guests and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. Um, but here, I'm basically just sketching out the character, doing the line work, doing the color, lighting, and then effects in Photoshop like I always do. It was a fun character to kind of tinker with. At first, I didn't know if I wanted to do the traditional style, like the Universal artists have done, just to kind of keep it all in the same symmetry. But then I started thinking it wouldn't really be about 10 art original, even though it's not my character. I didn't invent the character, but I do like it a lot. I like the aesthetics of the character, the accessories like the little hanging bones and beads and feathers and the cinnamon sticks. Those cinnamon sticks are kind of iconic when it comes to the Baron. And so yeah, I decided to kind of create the or recreate the character rather, and give it my own little style, my own flair, and perhaps recreating the character is not the right words, but just kind of make it something that's unique and cool to look at, and um, make it part of our team. So if you're ever in our area, uh, you'll see a lot of these pieces of artwork on the walls and stuff like that. So yeah, I tend to do this sort of stuff. Print out a bunch of 5x7s and then just hand them out. Um, they're also available on my website if anybody wants to have their own print. 5x7s, 11x17s. They're up there at bot10art.com. Um, not trying to not trying to selfishly promote myself, but if it just helps because people ask if they can have one or where can they get it, and so I just kind of make it easy. And now I am basically creating a solid shape of the figure. That way, it makes it easier for me to paint. I know that Procreate and other software allows you to select these shapes and fill them in a lot quicker, but my style of inking is very loose, very chaotic, and I never have closed areas. So selecting an object within the line art is not a good thing for me. It doesn't work. It ends up filling up the canvas, and uh, it doesn't work. And so I know this is kind of a strange or time consuming way of doing things, but it's my process. I'm kind of stuck in it, and it just works for me. So once I have a solid figure, I can start building up colors and values. And I I always find myself in two different styles of my artwork. One is a an artistic painting type style, where it has a lot of textures, lighting, lighting effects, and stuff like that. Kind of like I did with my it piece, or I go for a more printed look, kind of like a old school news magazine or advertisement, and I kind of wanted to give Tonton that feel. Um, I did a little bit of texture in the skull, but not a lot, and I kind of wanted to have that have that old feeling, adding textures to the piece that kind of mimic broken paper or worn down paper, kind of like a newsprint of some kind. So yeah, it's a long way to say, I have two different styles that I kind of hang out in, and for this piece, I just wanted to do something, something like that, give it its own unique look, and so yeah, that's what I did. And now I'm filling in the different shapes. Like these are base colors for the bones, for his clothing, for his hat, and different parts of the piece. The snake, cinnamon sticks, and the accessories and stuff like that. That kind of helped me build up those values. Um, and again, it's one of those things that if I wanted it to be a painting, I could spend hours on this and make it look a lot more authentic, a lot more real. Um, just using the base of this image, the design of this image. So it's kind of like it could stay cartoony, for a lack of a better term, or I can use this as a base and then develop everything as a painting. And there's still time for that. I think I can do that. I think I can go back, revisit this, and at some later time, and make it more like a painting, make it more robust, if you would. But yeah, for now, it's good enough, right? It's like they say, it's good enough for government work. Um, at the time of doing this piece, I was kind of dealing with some health issues, and and I was recovering from a procedure that I had in October. So this is somewhere around Christmas time, maybe just in and out. I was in and out of doing this piece, and so I do believe that some of that did take effect into this piece, but in the sense of there's a it's hard to explain, but there's like a feeling or a flow when it comes to creating artwork. And with this particular piece, yeah, I was in the zone, quote unquote, the zone, how us artists say. Um, but the flow could have been a little bit better. And that's just my own critique. I'm just saying. And it's kind of like music, right? If you're a musician or some kind of artisan, you could say your heart wasn't in it, and so I don't want to say my heart wasn't in it because I'm creating something for my team, which I care a lot about. I care about my team. They're all lifelong friends. They're almost like an extended family. That tends to happen a lot when you work at Universal. A lot of teams get along together really good and form these bonds. And so I don't want to say that, oh, I'm just creating something really fast, or I don't really care about what I'm creating. That's not the case. But sometimes it's like a feeling, right? You feel it, and you're like, man, this is it, you know. And so, uh, just dealing with recovering and stuff like that. There was a lot of things that would be in my normal flow of artwork, and just this time around, they weren't there, and you can kind of see it as I struggle with the eyes. Normally, I black these eyes out, or I do a certain lighting that kind of makes that pop as much as I can. And this time around, it was like, kind of struggling, and that's okay. You know, it's okay to have that happen. A lot of artists tend to hide those kinds of things, and I don't. I don't run away from it. If it's a bad time, it's a bad time. If it's not working, it's not working. And that's just kind of the way I work. It's the way I approach things. It's the way I view life. Um, yeah, I think it's important to kind of understand that. I think it's important to realize that you're not always going to be at your best. You're not always going to be the greatest. Um, and it's good to understand that. So I think that's what was happening during this piece, and I'm glad it did. It taught me a lot. Um, it taught me a lot to just recognize those kinds of things and let things happen and heal in your own process, in your own way, in your own time. Yeah. So, but anyways, I'm happy how this turned out. I darkened in the eyes later on in Photoshop. I added a bunch of textures. Um, Messed around with different things here and there, back and forth. I didn't usually do my highlighter pass, but that's okay. I think it kind of worked out, and I showed a few people in my team, and they seemed to like it. So it's good enough for now. Good enough for now. I hope everybody enjoyed this video, and I don't know. I think you guys tend to like these voiceover videos, which is pretty cool. It's something new for me. I don't normally do that. I just do a bunch of like sped up videos. But yeah, if you like them, leave me a comment. Let me know. It's not just to boost algorithms. I don't really pay much attention to that sort of stuff, but I am curious, 100%, about your feedback. What would you like me to cover? What would you like me to talk about? So yeah, make sure you leave that in the comments. And I hope you guys have a wonderful Mardi Gras season. And I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.